What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video, and welcome back to Vic Drives. So I'm in my garage because it's raining outside, but some of you might remember that when I first bought my car, I had a couple complaints about it. And one of them was that the window tint on like the back glass especially was kind of not great. So today's project is basically removing the tint off of my windows. So I'm kind of weary about taking this one off, but you probably already caught, I got the passenger side off before I decided that I wanted to turn this into a video. But I guess I can walk you through how to do the driver's side. So tools that you will need are a hair dryer and a razor blade, and that's literally it. So part of the reason that I'm doing this myself is because I was quoted an extra $120 if the shop wanted to do it. And I've already spent a lot of money on this car. So now I'm kind of save a little bit. And this isn't really something that you can mess up. So why not, right? And this will literally take all of maybe 2 minutes. So let's go do it. So you're basically gonna come to your glass, and if this will focus here, you're gonna wanna start a corner somewhere. You can pick at it with your finger, or you can kind of use the razor to pick up a corner. Okay, so sometimes you will have this happen where some of the glue holds the tint to the glass. Don't worry about it. All you need to do is make sure that you have one solid piece where the entire line is coming off. I had to work a bit harder to get there, but if it'll focus. Focus. Right there. Well, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. But now, basically what we're going to do is take your hair dryer. There. You're gonna put it on hot air, on high, and we're basically just gonna work it back and forth to heat up the rest of the tint. And as you heat it up, just keep pulling and the entire thing will basically just come off. I don't have a tripod right now, so it's a little difficult for me to film and show you, but I will do my best. So if you do end up having any spots where the glue from the tint is left over, or there are pieces like what I showed you earlier, like this, where they didn't come off, that is basically when you go ahead, take the hair dryer, heat it up a little bit, and then take the razor blade and then kind of just lift it up. It's gonna be really hard for me to videotape this, so I'm gonna try my best, but I also don't want to take too long on this step because the next step will be actually getting the tint on. And there's that little sucker. So if there is leftover glue or anything like that, just heating it up and then using the razor blade works. You do have to be extremely careful though, because you can definitely scratch your glass. So do this at your own risk. If you don't want to risk it, just take it to a shop. And after that, some normal glass cleaner or rubbing alcohol, or whatever you want to use to get the rest of it off, completely up to you. And then comes the fun step, where you get to have your new tint installed. Now, some of you might also be wondering what on earth would actually warrant requiring to replace tint. So I have explained this before, but I will explain it again. This car was owned by a smoker. He did smoke in the car. Hold the film up. There were like little air bubbles and kind of just marks and stuff that stayed from his smoking into my ownership. And all of these, both of these pieces, as well as the back glass that I'm not going to be taking off and I'll be leaving for the shop, were pre-cut pieces. And so he installed them himself and did about as good of a job as you would expect someone who installed tint themselves to do. And so there's pretty much just bubbles and it's not very clean. So here's a view of the glass pre-tint, but obviously I will show you guys more once we get to the tint shop. So every now and then I kind of forget that I do YouTube. And when I was at the tint shop was one of those times. So I got there, I saw a Viper GTS-R on the other side of the floor from where the vet was, and I just lost my mind and completely forgot to film anything to do with the tinting process here. So let me give you kind of like a word recap, and you know, it's window tint, so it's not really new information. But basically what happens is you get to the shop, they take the make and model of your car, put it in the machine basically cuts out templates for your car out of tint rolls, and then the installer will come, basically clean the glass, and put your tint on. So the first time around, because I had to end up going twice, the first time around, the machine didn't really do a great job of cutting, or it cut for the coupe instead of the Z06. I don't think there's a difference, but it came off by a little bit, and I'll have an overlay of what happened. There was basically just like a little gap where the tint didn't cover the window. I had already been there for 3 or 4 hours though, and the back glass still had all those air bubbles by, you know, like the top where I guess those other little bubbles are, like the defroster bubbles. And so basically I left, and then after a week or so, when they said that most of that stuff would disappear, at least on the back glass, and it didn't, I gave them a call again and said, hey, like, you know, I want this fixed. So they told me to come back. I went back and they did a much better job. So if you take a look down the side here, there is a nice clean line, no gaps, extremely well done. Even the back glass, none of the bumps or air bubbles or anything are visible anymore. And it's much better, definitely worth my money. And I am thrilled with how this car is starting to look. We are very close to being done. So if you are in need of tint install or removal services, or PPF, I think they do as well, give Tint Pros Plus a call if you're in the Massachusetts area. Ask for Brandon. He's the one that helped me out. He did a fantastic job. He was super nice. Turns out we actually know each other through common friends as well. So that was a welcome surprise. And yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, then definitely be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in the next one.